Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Jal. We're right next to, of course, Sri Govinda Kund, and catty corner this way is Sri Madhavinda Puri's sitting place. It's noticeable that around Radhakund and Govardhan, there are baitaks, or sitting places for the great saints, because they're forever here in the Dham. Bhavad vida bhagavatas tirtha bhuta swayambhu vibo tirtha kurvanti tirtani svantaksnena gadabrita. The Bhāgavatamr, Yudhishthira said to Vidura when he came back after his pilgrimage, he had gone to many holy places, had Vidura. You remember why? As he was insulted in his own house by Duryodhana. And he uses an excuse to leave home. And set his bow and arrow outside on the entryway to the palace. He became unrecognizable. He grew his hair, beard. No one could tell that it was the venerable Vidura going from one holy place to the next. And incognito, he traveled. And then he came back later, and Yudhishthira said these words, Tirta kurvanti tirtani. Tirta means a bridge from one place to the next. So we hear from Sri Chaitanya Charamita, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastrik Hoy, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Kaviraj Goswami says that a sadhu, a person who is fully immersed in Krishna, has no other objective in life except serving Krishna and teaching Krishna consciousness. When we have the association of such a person, it acts medicinally. In fact, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings to Sanatana Goswami, he says that we become Krishna conscious by the association of devotees. This is the main cause for us awakening to Krishna consciousness. And he describes how devotees are vaijas, or doctors, and they carry with them hymns and instructions. That's what they have in their little doctor bag, and they administer that to others. And Vidura, Yudhishthira praises Vidura. He said, Bhavad vida bhagavatas. Those who are bhagavatas, they're fully absorbed in Krishna. They have no other interest in life. They purify even the places of pilgrimage. As many people come and they're carrying a burden with them of sinful reactions, they come to unload them here in the Dham. Take a dip in the river or the Pokor, and then leave their sins behind. And then when the saints come, they purify all those sins that are left behind. So Yudhishthira said, Vidura, you're a walking tirtha. Everywhere you go, you purify the environment, you purify whomever you touch. And Kaviraj Goswami says, sadhu sangha. If we have association with a pure devotee, or with pure devotees, those who are following a pure devotee. Pure devotee has no other interest but Krishna. She thinks my only objective in life is to serve Krishna, and those who follow such a person are also considered pure devotees. Prabhupada once said to a person who was feeling a little annoyed with his colleagues in the Krishna consciousness movement and was complaining about the devotees. He said, you should remember that these devotees are better than kings, every one of them. And so, sadhu sangha, sadhu sangha, sarva shastra koi. All the shastras say that by association with sadhus, lava matra, even if it's for a short amount of time, sadhu sangha, siddhi, sarva siddhi hoy, you can attain all perfection in life by association with pure devotee. And so Madhavendra Puri was such a pure devotee. He came here to Vrindavan, and this story is told, you'll find in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. And Nityananda Prabhu tells it, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu retells it. And it's the story of Madhavendra Puri. In our sampradaya, we're called the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, correct?
Yes.
And in the Madhva Sampradaya, there is a section that called the Tattvavadis. Although they come from Madhvacharya, they missed the understanding of pure devotional service. But Madhavendra Puri is known throughout our Gaudiya Sampradaya as being part of the Madhva Sampradaya. His Diksha Guru is in the Madhva Sampradaya. But Madhavendra Puri was the precursor to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he brought with him the fragrant flower of the mood of Vipralamba Bhav, or separation from Krishna, the pure devotional mood, which we hadn't seen before. Those in the Sampradaya had never expressed the emotion that we saw in, or that anyone saw in Sri Madhavendra Puri. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, glorifying Madhavendra Puri, tells a story about how he came here to Vrindavan alone. He was a Paramahamsa, so he traveled by himself everywhere. Not necessarily that a Paramahamsa always travels by himself or herself, but he traveled alone, and he never asked anyone for anything. He didn't beg. Some sadhus do madhukari. You know what that is?
Yes.
When we go on book distribution, we go door to door, and we knock on somebody's door in Bushi, and then they come to the door, and we show them a book, and then we inform them that it would be their good fortune if they would give something, donation. And we say that your house is like a little flower, and we're like bees, and we came here to collect a little bit of pollen from your house. So every house is giving a little something to the bees flying around. We're doing madhukari. Madhu means the bee. So Madhavendra Puri, he didn't ask anybody for anything, like the madhukaris do, going door to door. He only waited until someone would offer him something, then he would accept it. So right here where you're sitting, Madhavendra Puri came, and it was just a quiet little village, Vrindavan at that time. No auto rickshaws, no two-wheelers, no four-wheelers, maybe a bullock cart every blue moon. It was even like that back in the early 70s when Prabhupada first came here. It was very, very quiet, and no cars. The only car in India was the ambassador. There were no Japanese cars, no other cars. And you didn't see sadhus with cell phones either, because there weren't any. So Madhavendra Puri came here, and he was sitting and chanting, as he did constantly. He was chanting the names of the Lord. And a beautiful little boy came to him with a pot of milk. And he said, the village women informed me that you were here, and so I brought you this milk. And Madhavendra Puri had not contacted anybody, so he was surprised that this little boy came, and he offered him the milk. And then soon afterwards, the boy just disappeared. He couldn't see him anymore. Madhavendra Puri, he took that milk, he drank it with relish, and then he dreamed a little bit. And in his dream, he saw Gopal, who called to him and said, I was moved from my altar into the brush, into the wilderness of the Vraj area here because of the attack of the Mughals. And I've been here for a long, long time, and now I'm calling for you to come and rescue me. So when Madhavendra Puri came out of his dream, he went and got the villagers, gathered together people, whomever he could find, and they brought machetes, and they cut through the brush right where Gopal had revealed that he was sitting. And they had to cut through thick thickets to come to the place where they would dig in the ground, and they found the beautiful Gopal deity. And Madhavendra Puri offered obeisances to Gopal, and then he brought him to Govardhan Hill and found on Govardhan Hill, and they all came and they brought gifts. People brought foodstuffs and they brought cows. So Gopal then had a couple of cows, and then gradually they built up a temple around the deity, and a couple of first-class Brahmins came from Bengal. And Madhavendra Puri recognized that they were excellent, so he employed them in the service of Gopal. And now there was this beautiful temple and a community around Gopal. He had his own cows. People were bringing him boga every day in large quantities. And Madhavendra Puri had another dream. And Gopal said to him, I was in the brush for so long, and it's very hot here. My body is overheated. I need sandalwood. Please, would you get me some sandalwood and bring it back? Now, to get sandalwood, even now, is difficult. Back then it was extremely hard because it was regulated commodity. You had to have special permits, and you had to go down to south to find it and purchase it and bring it back. So Madhavendra Puri was joyful to have some service given to him directly by Gopal. And he made his way all the way down to where it is now Ramuna, which is not so far from Jagannath Puri. And there he had visited the temple of Sakshi, of Gopinath. And while he was at the temple of Gopinath, he heard from the pujaris that we offer to the deities every day a very nectarian kind of preparation, this kheer. And they had a special recipe for that kheer. Now, devotees who are worshiping the Lord are always thinking of ways to offer something first class to Krishna. Right?
Yes.
You're always thinking, what can I get for Krishna that he'll enjoy? This is the essence of devotional service. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tatprapena nirmalam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchate. Devotional service is that process by which one tries to please the senses of Krishna. And this saves us from a great burden of trying to please our own senses. Because the problem with trying to please our own senses is they're never pleased. Whatever we please them with, they think that, confirmed, thank you, it's not enough. And they want more, and they want more, and they want more, but no amount of contact with the sense objects can satisfy the senses, so they're called, in a poem, bad masters. I quoted it the other night. Kama dinam katina katita palita durnidesha. Durnidesha means bad masters. They're asking for all kinds of things, but they're never satisfied, and they never give us anything in return. But Krishna, on the other hand, he's easily pleased, and he's the Lord of the senses. So Madhavendra Puri thought, this is an opportunity for me to find something first class to bring back to my Gopal. All I want is the recipe for that kheer. Do any of you ever try to get recipes for your deities?
Yes.
Have you ever hacked into somebody's computer to get it? We had that happen once because we were at somebody's house and we had the best salad dressing we've ever had in our lives. And I called up the person later. I said, that was so good. Could we have the recipe? He said, no. But his godbrother, somehow or other, was able to hack into his computer and steal the recipe. And it was okay because it was for Krishna. You can edit that part out of the... So Madhavendra Puri was watching them offer the sweet rice, and he thought in his mind, if I could only know how to make that for my Lord, I could, maybe if I taste some, then I can reverse engineer. I'll figure out what the ingredients are and I'll offer to my Gopal. And as soon as he thought that, he thought, oh, what a wicked person I am. I just saw the offering come by and I was thinking, how can I touch it with my tongue? Even though it was for Krishna, still he felt so beneath the standard that he left that place, feeling ashamed. And he went off to an abandoned marketplace. And just that night, the Pujari had a dream. And the dream was, my great devotee, Madhavendra Puri, was here today. He had wanted to taste some of this sweet rice. So although you've cleared all the place, you offered the same amount you always do, but you didn't notice. When you cleared it, there was one missing. I've stolen it. I put it behind me. And now you come get that. This is in the dream of the Pujari. He woke up in the late night, just after he took rest, and said, you come and get this, and you bring it to Madhavendra Puri, my devotee. And so the Pujari, he was startled from sleep. He got up, he took a quick bath. It's called a Pujari shower. They're very fast, because they're always in a hurry. Pujari showers, very quick. And he went to the Pujari room with some clean cloth, tiptoed in, and looked behind the deity's dress, and sure enough, Gopinath had stolen a pot of kheer for Madhavendra Puri. So he recovered that kheer, and the deity had told him, bring it to Madhavendra Puri, I want him to have this. So he went out into the night, and the only place nearby was this abandoned marketplace, and he began calling at the top of his lungs, if there's anyone here named Madhavendra Puri, please come and take this sweet rice, because you are the most fortunate person in the universe. Gopinath has stolen this for you. And soon Madhavendra Puri, hearing the voice of the Pujari, came out, and he accepted that. He drank the kheer like nectar. It was in a little clay pot, like everything used to be here before there was the invention of plastic, which has practically wreaked havoc here in India. A little clay pot, he broke it into pieces and he tied it in his cloth. And every day from then on, he would take a little piece of that clay and he would eat it in ecstasy, remembering that Gopinath had heard his plea that he wanted to taste it and offer it for his deity. And as he was sitting there and the sun was coming, he thought, now people will hear about this and they'll come here, they'll want to glorify me. He said, I'll leave right away. For the pure devotee, fame follows everywhere here she goes. There's a way that the devotees don't want any fame. They don't want to be contaminated by people saying, oh, you're so great, you're a great devotee. They feel lowly and they relish this mood of dainya, or abject humility. So not wanting to disturb that meditation he had on the Lord, he went away from that place. He made his way down to by the sandalwood that had been requested by Gopal. And with great endeavor, he carried it himself. He also had some helpers, but it was a labor of love, carrying this sandalwood paste. That's some kind of benediction, because that was the holy name on that. Just hit you on the head. That's a harbinger of good fortune. Hare Krishna. Say Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Krishna hits you in the head, you consider something good is coming, or it already has come. So he came back carrying all this sandalwood. Now, in the Srimad Bhāgavatamr, is mentioned that Tasma Gurum Prapadyeta Jigna Shri Uttamam Tad Vignanartam Sagurum Eva Bigatchet Samitpani Shotriyam Brahmanishtam. It's recommended in the Shastra that one find a bona fide spiritual master as soon as one has an impetus to take the next steps in spiritual life. And one of the qualifications of one approaching sadhu. It says, Samitpani Shotriyam Brahmanishtam, means that in your hand you should carry wood. And why is that? You remember when Krishna was with Sudama at Sandipani Muni's? Say yes.
Yes.
And they had gone out to bring wood back for their spiritual master, who used it for his daily fire sacrifices. And when they, watch your back, when they were, Sandipani Muni and Lord Krishna were out in the forest, a huge storm came. The skies turned black. And then the water started coming down like it was the end of the universe. The drops were as big as wagon wheels. And the flood waters started to rise. And there they were, carrying wood for their spiritual master. And they couldn't find any shelter until finally they came to a big tree that had a hollow inside of it. But instead of climbing in the hollow themselves, they took the wood and they put it inside so that the wood that they had collected for their spiritual master would not be spoiled. And they themselves stood holding one another in the freezing wind and rain and spent the night there until their spiritual master came looking for them. He found that they had preserved the wood in the hollow of the tree just for the sake of serving their spiritual master. You all can come if you want. Come in. And so this is Samitpani Shotriyam Brahmanishtam. One should approach Krishna, spiritual master, carrying wood in one's hands. This is a good test to see if you can focus, because there's drumming and there's cows. And if there's drumming and cows, it's really hard to concentrate. So, Madhavendra Puri, although he was the most advanced devotee, he did menial service for the Lord and he relished it. He carried the wood in his hand, the heavy sandalwood, all the way from South India, and he was bringing it all the way back to his deity here in Vrindavan. And this is a test Krishna gives to us. How sincere are we to serve him? We should have this mood, samitpani. We should carry wood in our hands. Whatever is the needful, we should do that to please Krishna. Some manual labor, perhaps, or something that takes a risk or is scary, we should do it for Krishna. And now they're giving the drum roll for the finale of the story. And that is, Madhavendra Puri had another dream. And his deity Gopal came to him in the dream and said, I am non-different from Gopinath. Therefore, now that you're there with Gopinath, you offer the sandalwood to Gopinath, and it's the same as offering to me because there's no difference between me and Gopinath. So there Madhavendra Puri engaged all the pujaris in grinding the sandalwood every day, and they would apply it to the beautiful body of Gopinath, known as Shir Chor Gopinath. Shir Chor Gopinatha, Radha Shir Chor Gopinatha Radhe Jaya Ta Gopinatha Radha Kirchor Gopinatha Radha. See if you can do that. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Kirchor Gopinatha. Let's hear it again.
Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Kirchor Gopinatha Radha.
He can do it. He's from Toronto. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Kirchor Gopinatha Radhe.
Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Kirchor Gopinatha
Haribo. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Kirchor Gopinatha Radhe. Haribo. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Kirchor Gopinatha Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Kirchor Gopinatha Radhe. All the deities are known for their intimate connection with their devotees. And the secret in life was given by one of my godbrothers who used to live in Govardhan. He lived and passed in Govardhan. His name is Gopīparān. Gopīparān Prabhu. He had stayed where we were, right next to where we were this morning for breakfast. He lived just down the road from there, at a little house with his wife and child and a couple cows. And he was a great scholar, linguistic scholar. He helped to translate many of Prabhupada's books, including the 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th Cantos. And also, he was the great expert who was able to bring the Bhāgavatamr to light in a perfect way, praised by the greatest scholar of Gaudiya Vaishnavism at the time in the academic world, Joseph T. O'Connell, said nobody else in the world could have done that. That was the great Gopīparān Prabhu. And he said once something that I've always kept with me, and that anyone can live by for great success in life. And I'd like to tell you, but we've run out of time. And we're going to have to move along. So maybe later. All right. He said, it's not what you know that counts. It's who you know and what you are. And so we learn this lesson from Srila Kaviraj Goswami, from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to find the pure devotees and follow in their footsteps. And even if we feel unqualified, even if we are unqualified, we become qualified. Kalpante yenutan iha. In this world, from whatever position we're in now, even Sutta Goswami says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bejare muneo tagre, Bhagavan tambadhok sajam, Sattvam Vishudham Shemaya, Kalpante yenutan iha, which means that previously all the great saints worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the three modes of material nature. Anyone who follows in the footsteps and tries to emulate what they have done according to their capacity becomes eligible for the same result that they attained. So we come here begging for the mercy of Srila Madhavendra Puri, thinking of how he carried wood in his hands for the Lord. And we can remember that he's considered and the most celebrated of all Vaishnavas in our Sampradaya, as he set the stage for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come and teach the emotional love for Krishna, which had not been taught ever before. Anarpita chirim shirat karune yamatirna kala samarpayitum unutojvala rasam sabhakti shriyam Hari purata sundara duty kadamba sandipita sada haraya kandare spurita vasachinandana. And Rupa Goswami writes that this is the great benediction. May the Lord appear in our hearts and give us the wherewithal to follow in the footsteps of the great sages and saints like Srila Madhavendra Puri. And now we'll take a couple of reflections or a question. 3, 2.
Reflecting on this passage of Madhavendra Puri since I've been here in Vrindavan. And there's a purport where Prabhupada says that Madhavendra Puri's devotional service was exemplary. And it said that because he was willing to render service despite scarcity of resources, personal inconvenience, and unforeseen obstacles.
Say 3 again.
Personal inconvenience.
Say repeat.
Personal inconvenience,
Scarcity of resources. Unforeseen obstacles.
What's the acronym? Need an acronym.
I'm not really sure for that. Sorry.
Just the first 3 letters. What are they?
Okay. PC.
What's P stand for?
Personal PI. Personal inconvenience. Scarcity.
SR.
Unforeseen obstacles.
UO. What does that spell? What?
PISRUO.
Prosruro.
So I was just thinking that to serve in the midst of such circumstances is the meaning of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. That's the practical application of it. Being willing to undergo those three things and accept those three things for the sake of loving and serving Krishna. That's the practical, on-the-ground example of what Mahaprabhu came to do.
Sadhu, sadhu. Try to say sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu,
That means
sadhu.
very good. And say bhalo, bhalo.
Bhalo, bhalo.
So when you hear something here in the yatra and it sounds positive and you like it, you can say sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Bhalo, bhalo.
Bhalo, bhalo.
Or jai, jai.
Jai, jai.
Let's try it again.
Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu. Bhalo, bhalo. Jai, jai. Yeah, it's good because when somebody makes a point that's sanguine and then you appreciate it, you get the full benefit of what they just said. This is called grananti, and it's one of the most intriguing principles of devotional service. If you have gratitude in your life and you appreciate when people say something that's profound about Krishna, the more you appreciate it, the more it becomes part of your life. Shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhava. Queen Kunti said that when you appreciate the devotional service of others or the realizations they have, then they become yours. You want to hear the opposite of it? What if you think, who does that guy think he is? Or like, I know better than that. I know one more. He knows 3, I know 4. And then our heart closes, we're not able to take the gift that the person's just given to us. Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Bhalo, bhalo. Jai, jai. Okay, another reflection or question before Divyanam Prabhu tells us we got to go, which is any time now, or 5 minutes ago. 3, 2, 1. Finished?
Thanks, Prabhu. Yeah, the question is, in your opinion, what does it mean to be a devotee?
Fair enough, fair enough. The word devotee comes from Latin. It comes from the word vote. And vote means that you cast your vote for somebody. In other words, you're on their side. It also means to make a vow. The word devotee comes from devoto, which means vote, and it also means to make a vow. So those who vote for Krishna, it's like if Krishna's running an election and you have the chance to vote for anyone on the list, who are you going to vote for? Krishna. So you're all devotees because you're going to vote for Krishna, right?
Yes.
And also, if you take a vow for Krishna, anybody here take a vow for Krishna?
Yes.
3 people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're also a devotee. So those who take a vow for Krishna and those who vote for Krishna, when somebody says, what are you anyway? You say, I'm a devotee of Lord Krishna. As my first leader in Krishna consciousness, I was sent out with him on book distribution. And people used to come up to us and say, what are you guys anyway? And he'd say, we're devotees of Lord Krishna. And I really appreciated that. So that's what a devotee is. Someone who votes for Krishna and makes a vow for Krishna. And now we're going to go on to the Nrsimha temple. This place also is where Lord Krishna was crowned as Govinda, the king of all the senses, the king of the cows. And after Indra was defeated, he came nearby here and offered apologies to Krishna, humbled himself. And then all the Devas and Indra and Airavata came and bathed the Lord with a huge abhishekam, which made a river of milk that went around, all the way around Govardhan hill, which formed all the Kunds. And then Surabhi announced that you are our Indra, our Govinda. You're the master of the senses, you're the master of the cows, and you're the most worshipable. That's why we sing Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda.
And next we're going to go to the Nrsimha temple. Govardhan hill is shaped like a peacock. And the very tail of the peacock is a little ways further down here. We'll go around the end of Govardhan hill, the very tip of Govardhan hill, which we'll be able to see from the Nrsimha temple. It's a Prahlad Nrsimha temple. Prahlad you can't see until they lift up the mukut, and underneath the dress of Lord Nrsimhadev, you'll see a little Prahlad standing there worshiping Lord Nrsimhadev. There's a very sweet temple on top of the hill, and from the rooftop you can look out, see the very end tail of Govardhan, and you'll see people coming around the corner there. And we'll make a group prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev when we get to the top of the temple, that he can remove all the obstacles within our own hearts so we can properly worship him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you so desire, please let us imbibe the mood of Srila Madhavendra Puri and his servants, and please let us spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world to carry on his sampradaya. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part? Please say Hare Krishna.
Hare
And now here's a word from our sponsor.